Hey everybody, welcome back to Momo and TCG. Today we're bringing you my Oden list that went undefeated at the most recent Sakura Kingdom event. Let's dive right into it. Hey guys, so this is the list here on Untapped. This is where we played the event. An Oden leader, so let's talk about the difference between playing Oden leader and Kid leader for a second. So Oden leader is more early game focused. You tend to have better plays, let's say turn 1 through 5 than Kid. But Kid has better plays turn 5 and on, right? So basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to establish dominance in those early game turns and then snowball it into a victory. Whereas Kid is trying to stall and play really slowly, make it to those late game turns. And then it just wins from there. So even when you're not playing against Kid, this is how you tend to play, where you're really just trying to establish so much presence, so much power early on that you overwhelm your opponent. So that's the style of deck that I'm taking to Oden. I feel like his leader effect really helps you with that by losing some advantage, but being able to make more proactive plays along the way. Knowing when to use your leader effect, which is you may trash one Wano country type card from your hand, set up 2 of your Dawn to active. That's once per turn, of course. Knowing when to use your leader effect can really be the make or break moment for Oden. And you can check out my VODs on Twitch if you're looking to see gameplay on that. But basically, it's a heavy proactive deck trying to do things as early as possible. So to get started on that, we got Momo and Bonnie. So you run them both at 4. Basically, they both generate so much hand advantage and do so many things early. They also absorb attacks and removal effects because an opponent really needs to get rid of them in order to not just kind of lose. Because if you're getting this much advantage from Bonnie and Momo, getting all these Supernovas, getting all of these Wano cards, your opponent's going to have a really hard time. Also, because of your leader effect, you can use Bonnie and Momo earlier than other decks and in larger numbers. As a matter of fact, there was a game in tournament where on turn 3, I wound up playing and using, because I went second, 4 Jewelry Bonnie. And my opponent couldn't handle all of that card advantage that I had gotten, and I kept using Bonnies and Bonnies over and over again. I think he got rid of 2 that turn, and then 2 stuck, and then I started to ramp up and ramp up. It just gave me so much card draw. And that's the kind of thing you can't really do with Kid, because you're needing to play defensively, you're needing to do stuff, whereas Oden just slams it all down on the board, not even caring. For Beige, 1-drop blockers are in a really good spot right now, and cheap blockers are important for green decks. I do run 8-drop Kid, we'll get there when we get there. So, you know, cheap blockers are kind of just a staple in the meta. 3 Killer, so here's the thing about Killer. Killer is really good late game, but it's kind of a dead draw early. You're not really wanting to use 2 Dawn to play a blocker without being able to draw. You can't always draw early on. So the automatic inclusion of 4 Killers in all my green decks are under the assumption that once we're at the point where I'm trying to like stall my opponent out, this card's amazing. Oden's not really trying to do that. So it's the only other option I have for a cheap blocker, and its effect is still really good. But that's why I'm only running 3 instead of 4, and honestly, I could see myself cutting it down to 2 in the future. For Apu, it is a searchable 2K counter. That's honestly all that this card is. I never play it. I've played it like twice, sometimes into a blue matchup, maybe. Like when you're playing into Blurple Croc and like really weird stuff is happening and you really need to just turn off events, I guess. But really, it's a Supernova 2K counter that you can grab off of Bonnie. That's all there is to it. 3 Cat Viper. I kind of wish this number was at 4. We'll talk about some changes I would make at the end, but you can search it off of Momo. You can discard it to your leader. And most importantly, you can tap down blockers when going for game. And it also can be used off of Kinemon to get extra swings in, which is really important. For Raizo, this is the other half of that draw engine. For Bonnie, for Momo, for Raizo is incredibly powerful and really just pushes you over the edge in terms of draw power. This also is a scabbard, so you can use it in conjunction with Kinemon, or you can discard it to leader effect if you really have to. But it puts out a lot of pressure. For Izo, it's a searchable 2K counter. It can't be used with Kinemon, which is important to note, but it can be used with your leader if you really need to. Also, tapping down characters cost 4 or less is just really proactive, really sweet. I think every green deck should be running this card at 4. For Okiku, this is the best scabbard in your deck, realistically. It helps you go for game. It helps you get over 8-drop Kid. It is a scabbard, so it can be untapped with Kinemon. I mean, Okiku is just kind of a mainstay in green. 2 of the 3-drop killer, so it's really good into your early game matches, like your Zoros. You deal with red a lot. It also can help you get over things like Bonnies and Momos when they're trying to block them out. So it's good into red, it's good into green. It doesn't do much into blue or purple. That's why you only run 2 of it. It's really just counter fodder against those other colors, sadly. But I do still stand by running it at 2 to help you deal with red and green. 3 Beppo. So another card I kind of wish was at 4. So something you'll notice is that I don't run any events. And we'll talk about why later on, but because I run no defensive events, I really felt the need for more 2K counters. So I do run the 4 Beppo, even though it is not searchable in any way. 2 removal Xray. This card's really helpful into your Doflamingo matchup. It's really helpful into your red matchups. It's solid into green. It's just kind of an all-around good card that I don't want it more than 2. It's the kind of thing that it's like if I saw 1, I was really happy, but I never really wanted to see it. It's like if it was there and I could use it, great. But it's not a card I was searching out, you know? It's just a very proactive play. It's a little situational for what this deck is doing, though. 2 5-drop Law, very similar circumstances. You don't have a lot of things to bounce and get a ton of value out of. I mean, other than Izos, Killer, right? And then bouncing Momos and Bonnies to help you do cheeky stuff. Law doesn't do all that much for you in comparison to the average green deck. Also, its primary function outside of the combo is then it's a blocker, realistically. And like I said, we are not really trying to play slow and defensively. Having a 5-drop 6K blocker is really nice. It's not the core of what the deck is trying to do, though. And that's why I only run it at 2. 1 Hawkins. So this was kind of like a... I put it in because it's a really good card, and it helps you answer 8-drop Kid. I found the deck does not need help answering 8-drop Kid, and this is one of the cards I'm probably going to end up cutting for either a Beppo or a Cat Viper. So there's that. 4 Kinemon, this is the real reason that you're running Oden. Playing Kinemon on curve or realistically at any point puts out so much pressure, and it answers 8-drop Kid because you swing with a really big Okiku, right? Like you throw 6 Dawn on an Okiku or something obnoxious. Swing at Kid, tap down a blocker, they have to block. You throw 2 Dawn onto Kinemon, swing at the Kid again, untap the Okiku, swing at the Kid again with the Okiku. That honestly gets over 8-drop Kid, that kind of shenanigans, more often than you'd think. It's also your primary win condition, whether it's attaching Dawn to things like Cat Viper, or if you've got Okiku or Raizo if you're doing really well. But just really the double swing, it's much like how Kid wins with its double swing at the end. And it is a Wano Country card, so if you need to discard it with leader effect, I've done it many times. 2 8-drop Kid, because if you're making it to the late game, this card can really save you. There was only 1 game I can really recall where 8-drop Kid was meaningful. I played it twice in tournament. Best of 1 4 rounds, by the way. Almost made it to top cut, just didn't. But I only played it twice in tournament. One of the games I didn't need it all. The other one, it was really, really helpful for sure. I'm not saying I would have lost without it, but the deck's motif isn't to go slow and steady. Like, it's not slow and steady wins the race. 8-drop Kid's more of a backup plan. I will say it's really nice to, if you're going second, hit 8-drop Kid on turn 8, be able to play it, and then discard a card to immediately attach a Dawn and get the defense up. So that's nifty. It's very cool, and it's definitely very helpful. But 8-drop Kid's kind of a backup plan. That's really all I have to say about it, is it's not the crux of the deck the way a normal green deck would be. And then no events. So the reason I run no events in this deck, no Paradise Waterfalls and no Punk Gibsons. Number 1, Paradise Waterfall doesn't do much for me because I only run Law for a target and I only run it at 1. So I don't really need it that heavily. Like, yes, it can untap and save your Okiku. Yes, you can grab it off Momo or discard it off leader, but it's not really the point. And really, the main reason that I'm not running the events is I don't like leaving Dawn up for my opponent. You play this deck so proactively, you do so much stuff constantly, that leaving 2 Dawn up to maybe use a Punk Gibson on your following turn and then end up not using it anyway, it doesn't help you. That's really good for most decks in the game, but for my Odin list, it's really all about being as productive as humanly possible with all of your Dawn. So changes I might make, I'm really thinking cutting 1 Killer and 1 Hawkins to up Beppo and Viper. There was a single time where I didn't see a Scabbard and really needed one for Kinemon. Now, I ended up winning anyway by playing around it, discarding the Kinemons to be proactive, but gosh, wouldn't it be cool if I had just had a Scabbard, right? Like anything to untap, because even Cat Viper is a really viable swing target when you have a Kinemon on board. That's really all it comes down to. And spamming out Kinemones is kind of this deck's win condition. Just Kinemone constantly. And the only targets in the deck are Cat Viper, Raizo, and Okiku. Because Izo, it only targets Scabbards. So Izo's not a target. It doesn't target itself because it has to be cost 3 or less. Momo's not a target. That's it. Viper, Viper, Raizo, and Okiku. So you upping your target number, I think, is really important. And Killer is good, but I don't feel like I need it. Hawkins kind of did nothing for me all game, and I'd really like another 2K counter. I think that would help a lot. Today's video was sponsored by Top Deck TCG. This is an awesome website where not only can you buy singles for some of your favorite trading card games, but it acts as a hub for various content creators so you can stay up to date in those games. This is their homepage. As you can see, they currently carry Flesh and Blood, Digimon, Transformers, and Star Wars Destiny. They are going to be carrying One Piece in the winter when its official American release comes out. If you go over to game videos and podcasts, you can see some of your favorite content creators, including your favorite One Piece content creators, for all of these various games so that you can stay up to date on what is good right now. It's all very easy to use, and the guy is great. And if you use your promo code TheMoonmen, not case sensitive at all, you'll get 10% off any order you place. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. I certainly hope you did. You can find links to my Twitch and my Patreon in the description, as well as the promo code and the links to Top Deck TCG. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.